How's it going? How's it going? Happy Thursday. Welcome to Changing Live, hosted by yours truly, Deonte Burden. Hope you guys having a fantastic Thursday. You know, we've had a pretty good week so far, and I'm super excited about having our show today. Today, our show will be talking about employees follow systems, and entrepreneurs create systems.
Okay.
Right. Before we get started, I want to say what's up to my awesome producer, DJ Lab.
What's going on, brother?
Not much, man. I got this Padron cigar. It's biting me a little more than I'm used to.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man. Full body. Also give a big shout out to my awesome assistant, Joni. Joni said she might be back in the lab next month.
Next month?
Yeah. So
we looking forward to that, Joe.
So Johnny asked me, your ass got 5 days.
We looking forward to it, trust me.
I'm sad, Joni. And you know, as always, we rehash our previous week where, you know, this has been a pretty exciting past week for me. We reached a big milestone. We hit 1,500 subscribers.
Uh-oh.
So, you know, I'm pretty proud about that. Actually, I'm tell you something, Lab. That was my 2019 goal.
Really?
Yeah, because we started the year with 700.
Okay.
So I said, okay, let me try to double up. So we've actually hit the yearly goal already. You know, 8 months
got some
in.
time in the year.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I like that. That's progress right there.
There you go. We're gonna try to adjust to it. We might make it happen. Hit 2,000 for the year out. We know.
Oh, you gonna make it happen.
Yeah,
but make it happen.
Yeah, but I just want to tell everybody, you include the lab and everybody, you know, thanks for the support. Excuse me, that we've gotten so far. You know, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for everybody helping us out and pushing us, you know, with the show and supporting everything. So and stuff, will be with all the little pretty girls like he's always doing.
Oh, really?
Getting bossed around. Yeah, he was getting putt lessons.
I saw the video.
Yeah. He getting bossed around. Come on, the girl just fussing at him. He just being around and being himself. But that was real cool. So shout out to the brothers of South Metro, man. That was a real great event. And, you know, that's always awesome because, you know, we do a lot of work in the community, but it's always great to have your families out there and everybody just fellowship and have a good time and stuff. So that went, you know, pretty cool. I will say one big thing that probably attributed with the growth of the channel that's despite the that video or the interview rather I did on Your Black World. Man, it's almost at 3,000 views.
Really?
Yeah,
so that
man.
helped you out a lot.
Oh, it helped me out a whole lot.
Oh, hey.
And just get that exposure.
Yeah.
And I'm still being aggressive with trying to get on other shows and stuff like that. So big shout out to Lawrence Watkins and Your Black World, and just to give me the opportunity to go on there. They helped me out a whole lot. Now I'm very appreciative of that. But yeah, man, I looked at it yesterday. It was 2,900 views.
Hey, that's what's up, man.
And everything.
We gotta stop being crabs in the barrel anyway. Start helping each other out some kind of way.
Let's see, and
pulling ourselves forward.
Absolutely. But I think a lot of that is attributed. Not that people don't want to. People just flex. They ain't in the capacity to help you. You know what I'm saying? They get an image we can help you. I got this and I got that. They just really ain't in that capacity to help you and everything. Okay. I'm a firm believer in that because typically if you got money, you ain't threatened.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But I just think that they just don't be in the capacity that they
can tell you what they gonna do.
Yeah.
Or what they can do, but really don't have it.
Exactly. I don't know if you remember the one time where I told you, you can't let people. You can't let people tell you no that really don't have the damn authority to tell you no.
Yeah, I remember that.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when you call the water company and they tell you need to pay us, like, who the hell is us?
You.
Yeah, get your supervisor on the damn phone. Get your ass fired.
Right.
Yeah. Or what you need to be doing and everything and stuff. That's what we need to make sure. You just don't give people authority.
Right.
That shouldn't have. Have that and everything. So that's a key thing. I think a lot of folks do that too much. We empower folks don't need to be empowered. You have the capacity to be empowered. Also, I've been doing it. I've been working real hard. Lab, this is a surprise to you too.
Okay.
The Business 101 series will start in September.
Really?
Yeah, the Business 101 series. Also, I already made the videos.
Okay.
I already made the videos, and I'm gonna be giving out just information to aspiring entrepreneurs or people that are currently in business, giving different videos, giving out information on certain financial statements, certain business financial ratios and stuff like that. where we'll just be sharing that to help folks develop it. And that's going to be a whole nother aspect of videos on the channel.
Okay.
And what we'll be wheeling out soon will be some of the courses and everything that are.
I want to be your first interview.
Oh man, look here, brother. And that's another thing too.
Entrepreneurship.
Yeah, man, and that's also something we're probably looking at doing. Try to get in once or twice a month, get an interview in. See, the thing of it is that I spent so much time trying to be a show host. Now I got to learn how to interview.
Yeah.
And everything. I got to learn that.
Right.
And everything. But I think I can handle it. Anything I put my mind to, I think I can. I do pretty well with it.
That's true.
So, man, yeah, but the Business 101 series is going to be going, man. Like I said, we're giving out information. Just some of your basic stuff you need as an entrepreneur, like knowing how to read financial statements, your income statement, your cash flow statement, your balance sheet, certain liquidity ratios, like, your cash ratio, asset ratio. A lot of you guys in business want to start fashion companies, just knowing how to actually evaluate inventory controls.
Right.
Those kind of things to know, okay, this is how long from the purchase of the material, how long it should stay on the shelf before you let it go. Or just looking at things like cost of goods sold, where actually you got to buy stuff, especially people that are bakers and or make stuff from material things, just, buying the materials, processing, and how to really account for that kind of stuff. And just looking at, I buy a potato, sell a potato, make money from a potato, it's a little bit more
than that.
Yeah, so we'll be sharing information on that, and also, like I said, following that up with some of the courses that's going to be with that. But as always, in all my videos, I put the link for a consultant appointment. So when we put information out, we'll give it information out. We'll do a great job of explaining what it is, but we're also going to share the link for you to book an appointment if you want to get more in depth with it. Because again, when we talk about stuff, we talk about the surface.
Right.
But what we don't say is, because we're not talking to you, which situation is applicable to you.
Okay.
So that's why, if you want to go more in depth with certain things, just, on every video I got a link to the YouTube channel. I got a link to my company, Majestic Business Services, our website, and I got a link to book an appointment for consulting.
Okay.
That's on every video I got. Even if you go to my company website, majesticbiz.com, all those links there if you want to start bookkeeping, if you want to start payroll, you need consulting. All those links are there for you to hit, set up an appointment. Also, I think I brought it up last week, but it went live last week, DeonteBurden.com.
Oh. No, you didn't mention it last week.
Okay, so, hey, guys, it's there now. DeonteBurden.com. It's there. We got everything for you want to book me as a speaker. We got the store if you want to buy some of them Changing Live T-shirts. And I've been getting a lot of pictures back from, none of you brothers, but the females that sent me their pictures that bought this, not really supported, bought the Changing Live T-shirts.
Right.
So we going to start, posting them, some of the happy customers and stuff like that. Listen, if you do that, I cut your head out the picture.
Okay.
We just put your lovely frame on there.
Okay.
And everything. We cut your head out the picture. We just put your lovely frame. We appreciate all the support that we've received. But yeah, DeonteBurden.com is up. That's www.DeonteBurden.com. Like I say, everything's there. Like I said, the information we do, you want to book an appointment, the material you got for sale. The books and all the courses will be coming soon, but again, even with that, they'll be listed on there. But yeah, check out DeonteBurden.com and get a chance. Okay, circling back, tonight's show, we are talking about employees follow systems, entrepreneurs create systems. And so we start talking about a system. Lab, when you hear the word system, what come to mind? Not the Kenwood. Not Kenwood, JBL.
Oh, that's not what you're talking about. We talking about the 12 in the trunk.
No.
Okay, we are talking about processes and the other word is slipping my mind. But basically, the process of completing and the process of completing a task, the ins and out of doing the task.
Yeah.
So basically, just process. The system is the process.
Yeah, and you're right on it. We think about system. Those are process, procedures, methods.
Procedures. What I
Yeah.
was looking for.
You know, yeah, those process, procedures, and methods that are used to carry out a specific task. You know, and it's so important to have processes in place because without processes, you have no structure.
Right.
You just shooting from the hip, just doing things, and far too often, people don't put proper emphasis on systems, especially when they want to go into entrepreneurship. So I wanted to do a show to kind of highlight that because people, when they think about entrepreneurship, they think about you know, doing what they want to do.
Okay.
You know, be it, you know, say I want to be an accountant, a lawyer, a trainer. I want to sell certain things. They think about what they want to do, but they don't think about processes. How to be able to actually run this business and create my product or give my service at an optimal level. All right? And when you here's the thing about it. We start talking about systems. Here's the thing about it. If you have a true system, listen very close to me, entrepreneurs. If you got a true system, you don't have to be there. The system rolls without you. And here's the other kicker. If you got a true system, the value of your business quadruples.
Okay.
Why does it quadruple? Because take in consideration, if you're running a business and you're an integral part of that business, and that business really can't function without you being around, you know, the value is kind of, you know, much lower than if I wanted to acquire it, because now I got to replace who? You.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't need you, I can get it. That's why fast food chains and all them can change hands so many times people never know. Hotels, laundromats, touchless car washes, they have systems in place. Whereas you buy, you know, Deonte's, you know, House of Wings, or you know, Deonte's Motorsports, whatever. People come because of Deonte.
Right.
Take Deonte out of the mix, the value has decreased. But that's why it's so important to create systems. Okay, systems where that train can run without you and stuff like that. And that's one of the biggest things I think that's really not thought of too much with entrepreneurs. They just think about what they're doing instead of how things need to be done.
Okay.
You know, and that's what I really want to get, you know, because that's one of the things when I do consulting appointments, and people come to me and say, well, hey, Lil D, we want to get this stuff started, you know. And I meet with at least 3 people a week, at least, in terms of want to start a business up. And they start throwing out their vision. This is what I want to do. This is how we want to get started with this particular business. And halfway into it, okay, cool, I get that. Okay, how we going to set this thing up? Well, I'm going to do this. My wife going to do this, that, and that, and everything. I said, okay, cool. But we got to start understanding we need to get a system in place. Okay, because what if you get sick? What if your wife get pregnant? What if this would happen? What if that? We got to think worst case scenarios. Well, we going to pray. No. We ain't going to pray on this. We need to really have this stuff set up. And to give certain responses like that, that's how, you know, people really underestimate the importance of that. So that system, getting those systems in place is very, very, very important. And a lot of times people that when they go into business, they're just coming maybe from employment. And with doing this show, what I want to shed light on is the things that you probably have been paying attention to that you've been doing as an employee, how there's so much difference being an entrepreneur. Okay. So with that said, again, our show is the show we have now is Changing Lives, hosted by yours truly, Deonte Burden. Please go to the YouTube channel, like, share, and subscribe to all the videos, and please hit that bell so you can get notifications. You know, like the comments, leave comments also for the video. But again, this is Change Lives, hosted by yours truly, Deonte Burden. And tonight's show we'll be talking about employees follow systems, entrepreneurs create them. Okay? So just kind of give you like a brief story in terms of, you know, something near dear to me, the military. It's one of an age-old organization. We're talking about all militaries in general. This is the military is probably one of the ultimate examples of systems.
Okay.
You know, typically when you look at it in terms of you have people in the military enlisting and retiring all the time. But the military is still there. And, you know, typically when you come in, you have the structure being set up where you have your commissioned officers, you know, your lieutenants, majors, colonels, generals. They actually design and create plans that how they want to go by or strategies on things they want to make happen. Then you go to the next part of where your non-commissioned officers, those your sergeants, your corporals and things like that, sergeant majors, first sergeants. And those are the people that are tasked with implementing those plans or strategies and everything like that.
Okay.
And then you go to the bottom of it where you have your soldiers, your Marines, your seamen, your airmen. Those are the people actually going to do the leg work, making things happen.
Okay.
Again, we talk about we have a system in place. There's a system in place in terms of how information is created and goes down the hierarchy, or we call it the chain of command. Same thing, there's a system in terms of people that are at the bottom. If they have to make requests or things like that, it goes to that same chain of command. The person over you, boom, 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 increase from there. When things are actually going wrong, you have people from the top, how they disseminate information. It's a system.
Okay.
And that's the thing about it. It doesn't matter who's there. Now, some people can actually maybe interact with people or do a better job in terms of showing their vision, or some people you hear about the George Washingtons, the General Pattons, those kind of guys that were just like master strategists. But at the end of the day, the system's still the system.
Exactly.
You said some of these trying to think these sergeant majors that are common names. Just hear some of these guys that can actually break down tens of thousands of troops, and they've got the plan of vision and knowing how to disseminate the information. Then I look at some of the my platoon sergeant and stuff like that. Well, I'm still saying some of the shit they told me at 18, 19 years old that was ingrained in me and everything.
You say it sometimes on this show. You say a lot on this show. Let me ask you a question. Sure. On the system, now you're probably going to touch on this, so I'm not going to go too deep. There also can be clogs in that system too, right? There can be, even though it's a system in the military and, higher ups tell, and everything keeps running. Yeah. One of those higher ups or those middle can create a clog in that system where it doesn't run as smoothly as necessary.
You have, like you said, clogs in the system. We call them supply chain bottlenecks, where things kind of, bunch up, then go right, got to go fix it, or things just kind of too much coming in and stuff. Yeah, you do have that. That's why we'll get into that. Some of the checks that are in place when you have systems to, correct certain things.
I figured you're going to touch on it.
Yeah, and this is, like I said, this is something I really been wanting to talk about for a while, because you got so many people that want to go into entrepreneurship, and they go into it with an employee mentality. Exactly. And when you say you got an employee mentality, people take that as an insult, but it's not an insult. What they don't get is that everything's set for you when you go to work. You understand what I'm saying? Like, pretty much the hours you got to come in, how you clock in, what work you gonna do. This all been given to you. You just have to follow suit. So if, again, now you may bring a little bit more flavor to it, a little bit more efficiency than some people, but at the end of the day, if you get promoted or fired, somebody comes in and does what? Follow the same system. It doesn't change. And when you're out here by yourself, it's on you to do all that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
And I think that's probably one of the roughest things for a lot of entrepreneurs to get. Okay, so again, we're gonna look at both sides of it, and also kind of look into depth how to even create your own system. Okay, again, this Change Your Lives hosted by yours truly, Deonte Burden. Make sure you go to the YouTube channel, like, share, and subscribe to it. Okay, now let's kind of look at a couple things in terms of the breakdown. We look at employees. Okay, typically when you look at an employee, let's just take the structure of a business. You got your CEOs, your COOs. Those are the people that's kind of in charge of creating, drafting plans on how the company, the vision they want for the company. Okay. That's why sometimes people look at they see guys like Steve Jobs, Warren Buffett. The guys like, okay, looking at they rich men. It's not that they smart. They just rich. Rich. I'm sorry. They're actually being strategists. Okay. We're actually looking at, this is what we want. This is our vision, and this is what what I see what we can be under the circumstances and the market we're in. It's the reason why, a lot of CEOs getting $20 million a year. Yeah. They're brilliant with doing that. And most importantly, they know how to create these systems and draft them and also be able to put the pieces in place to make sure the system goes well.
Whereas we're looking on the outside and say, well, why is he buying, like, why is he buying a Dairy Queen when he owns all the insurance companies? Well, we see why he buying. I mean, he sees why he's buying it because he knows what he's going to do later on down the line in the system. Absolutely. And all we see is Dairy Queen and insurance don't go together.
I mean, you look at that's a great point. You look at like acquisitions of eBay to PayPal, when Google started doing all these acquisitions, a lot of these smaller different startups, where you look at a lot of apps and process that Google does, their acquisition that made them be run more efficiently and be able to offer more services. Another great point, look at the richest man in the world, Jeff Bezos. When Amazon was making all these acquisitions, they were buying the drone companies, they were buying these different transportation companies to be able to make themselves masters of supply chain. And they did that. That was their vision. So you're looking at like, why the hell is a bookstore buying all this stuff? And now you kind of see the vision coming into place. Yeah. In terms of they're creating it, and all while what they're acquiring it, they're putting things in place in terms of the purchase, the process, getting everything right, shipped to you in a peak amount of time. All these things are systems. Regardless who comes and goes, the system's still in place. That's and everything. Right. And that's what we look at in terms of, those CEOs or COs, and then they're giving their visions to the upper level and mid-tier management. And then those people in charge with what? Drafting the implementation phase of how everything's going to get done, how many people they need to do it, what kind of times they need to get it done and everything. And then they throw it down to the people on the front line, where it might be frontline supervisors and regular employees that are going about everything. Everybody has a task, and if everybody's doing their job, it's good. The system operating within that system, everything's going to be at peak performance. So this is pretty much what, how this is, going at a job. And a lot of times people, like you said, you just kind of clueless about what's going on around you. You don't even realize it. You know what I'm saying? And I think when people get that itch, let me start my own thing, they just don't realize how much stuff that's done for them. They look at like, I can do this and doing this good. But what enables them to do that, they don't look at that. And it's one of the key things I want people to open their eyes for. When you're in business, you got to understand how the organization revolves, and most importantly, how you fit into it. Exactly. And everything.
Exactly. A lot of people don't assess the process and systems that go in there. They go in there and they say, oh, man, I can make burgers just like this. And then they don't realize that, well, how they get the burger? Or how they get the french fries? How they get the wrappers and the cardboard boxes and all that stuff that goes in it, because the system is in place in order for that to be done.
You're talking about probably, when from a food standpoint, you probably got about 30 different vendors you're getting your food from. Then you're talking about another, just with the food, another 20, 30 vendors maybe, in terms of just the packaging and all that kind of stuff, and and everything. Even you're talking about the equipment,
exactly,
from the registers, the fryers, and all that kind of stuff. How long they got systems in check, and they got a maintenance schedule, inspection schedule, exactly. All this kind of stuff that may come, not necessarily just working in the store, that's coming from up top where they got to come check on your stuff. All this stuff in place. Got somebody coming in twice a month cutting the grass and everything. This outside vendor and stuff. So I think that's one of the key things people just don't pay proper attention to.
I'm gonna give you one good example. When McDonald's, we're talking about food. So we're talking about food. McDonald's, on their fries, they don't let everybody who grow potatoes supply them fries. Okay. They have a select few of people that supply them fries, and they have somebody that actually goes out to these farms and inspect those potatoes to make sure the fries are up to the standard in which McDonald's requires them to be. Really? So, like, you may have 15 people in one state that grow potatoes, but McDonald's is only accepting 2 of those people. Wow. And those people that McDonald's accept, I want you to look into it. I want all y'all to look into it. Everybody that McDonald's who buys potatoes from are millionaires because of the fact they are in that supply chain with McDonald's, and McDonald's requires them to grow a certain amount of potatoes and a certain quality of potatoes that basically they only supply McDonald's. Really? Yeah.
You know, it's funny, that story. I was just looking at the guy that owned 5 guys. I think he got 6 sons, but whatever. But what was funny, you just said that, I was looking at a documentary. He has one vendor that he buys potatoes from, and they never did a contract. They just did a handshake.
Okay.
And that's just the fries. You know, that's one like the signature thing when you go to Five Guys. And don't laugh at me, y'all. I have not ate Five Guys before in my life. I ain't really ate fast food in about 5 or 6 years. But that was just kind of intriguing to me how he was saying him and that guy had that relationship and everything, but just do it. But that's a great point. We just talk about these systems that are in place.
Right.
Now, what I want to just enlighten everybody on, particularly with an organization, we're talking about the business. We're still talking about with the companies. How are these systems kind of implemented out to people? Okay. And as we talk about this, kind of think about it in terms of when you working at your job, how is the system given out to you? Okay, so typically with a system, working in an organization, everything's usually written out first. That's typically upper management. We were just talking about from your upper leaders and stuff like that. They pretty much write everything down in terms of how they want it, and they share everything with upper management. It's written, all the procedures are written down. Secondly, when they start giving all the procedures and policies out to employees, there's a big emphasis. Now, if a person retains it or not, that's a whole different thing.
Whole different story.
When they're giving employees, the procedures and policy, how they fit into it, how important they are in this big grand scheme of things.
Okay.
They tell them that. Okay, listen. Number one, writing it down. Number two, explaining to employees, but also letting them know how important they are in this, big picture of everything folded out. They make sure that all the procedures and policies are very accessible.
Okay.
So typically when you working at a job, think about, you usually get like your manual, your SOP, or anything like that. Now you might have like something you can just go online, or one of them drives you can just look at, okay, these are the uniform policy. This is sexual harassment, equal opportunity. Just going in, this is how you check in, this is lunch breaks, all that stuff. Everything's pretty much like on a certain drive somewhere. If it's any damn confusion, so you don't have to go knock on HR desk, we already know. You know what I'm saying? So they're making these systems and policies very accessible to people. And one of the major things is, it's been written down, it's been shared with you, and also told you how important you are fitting in the picture. They make it readily available for you. And then the other thing of it is that the better you can follow with those policies and procedures, you're rewarded.
That's true.
That'd be promotions, pay, vacation, different little gifts. And if you can't do it, you're punished, suspended, fired, or whatever, or just demotions, different things. And that's typically how an organization does it.
Okay.
Some they put a little bit more emphasis than others, but mainly it's kind of like the same thing in terms of between those five being, it's written down. The importance and stress to each individual, how they fit into it. The third thing is four things. The third thing is being the accessibility, and the fourth is how they come back, with looking at everything, be it you're rewarded if you can follow directions and stay in compliance, or you're punished if you can't. That's pretty much most organizations. That's kind of like that little blueprint that they follow. Like I said, again, the emphasis that they put on it differently. But pretty much they already have everything set up from clocking in to clocking out and everything you got to do in between.
That's true.
And
that is true.
What we look at in terms of, it don't matter who came or who's retired or left, the system's still the same. Some people got a little bit more magic than others where they can make the system run a little bit better, maybe make it a little more, but for the most part, it's always going to be the same.
It's always the same blueprint. It may be other people. It's always the same system. Maybe different people pulling the switches different ways. But at the end of the day, it's still the same system. They just, like, again, like you might have a nice car, and it's the same car. But when you get it shined and buffed up, it may look a little different. But it's the same car.
It's funny you even bring that up. You right. But it's funny you bring that up. I was just looking at and I read on some stuff with Henry Ford and the Model T.
Okay.
And how he revolutionized that car industry in terms of how everybody would just go and just put a car together. Where we made that assembly line with the Model T and created that system. Whereas regardless who was there or wasn't, if you was there with the tires, you was there with the frames, you was in there with the electrical, whatever. However, the system was there. It didn't matter if you go from place to place to place, and that revolutionized the automobile industry.
And that was actually his contribution to it. They can say he made the first. He's not the first person to make a car. That's not. his contribution to the automobile industry was the assembly line itself.
Yeah.
Because before that, they were building one car at a time.
Absolutely. And that was, like I said, that just revolutionized, just making that system in terms of doing it. And you look back at it and it kind of seems, well, it don't kind of seem, it is very archaic. But just imagine, man, like you just said, they're doing one at a time.
Exactly.
But just put everybody in a place. Didn't matter who was doing it. Of course, you might got, Mr. Charlie, he shit. He put a frame together in a damn day, everybody like, man, shit, man. Hey, man, we just trying to do 2 or 3 a day now. Come on now. Oh, I got 10 of them ready. We all have worked with that guy.
Yeah. And that system actually made the car cheaper.
Exactly.
Because you're not just specializing in putting one car together at a time. You are putting several cars together at a time, which also gives the supply better, which makes the demand better.
There you go.
So if you got a lot of cars out there already, of course the price is going to be lower because you have a certain amount of cars out there. Your demand may not be the same. Where if you're putting one car together, you got 10 people waiting on that one car.
Absolutely.
So it's going to cost you more.
Absolutely.
So him creating that assembly line actually also made the car cheaper.
Hey, okay, now while we're on that thought, do you know any examples off the top of your head where they don't use that method, but the product, and just to your point, so that made it cheaper, but it is kept the cost higher?
Where they don't use
they don't use that, and to that point.
Yeah, talking about in the car industry.
Yeah,
Bentley.
Yeah, there you go. Lamborghini. Rolls Royce.
Bentley is the top line of that. Now Lamborghini does a little assembly line, but Bentley does one car at a time. They only do. From what I saw the documentary, I think they do maybe 20 cars a year. And that may be a little excessive. I mean, it may be a little lower than that, but they build them by hand, one at a time.
Custom.
That's why you paying $250,000 base price.
Yeah, that was a good point you brought up. And everything, just because I didn't get my eyes open to that till I was in grad school in terms of just, to that point, you can just be a whole lot cheaper with, conquering supply and demand. But just some people just don't look at it like, look, we're taking our time with this. Certain furniture places, certain clothing places, like we're only going to make so many. And that's why you're going to pay for that and everything.
Yeah, it's a guy who does especially wooden furniture. He does wooden furniture. But one of his pieces may cost you $10,000 because he's only doing 1 or 2 a year. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, and he's doing them by hand. He's not necessarily putting together pressed wood like IKEA is. This is one table at a time. You get what I'm saying? So
heart and soul went into
exactly.
There's not another one in the world look just like this one. Tonight again we're talking about this Change a Lot, hosted by yours truly, Deonte Burden. Show tonight we're talking about employees follow systems, entrepreneurs create systems. And again, we were talking about a system. A system is policies, procedures, and methods that an organization or people use to get certain things carried out. We saw, and we were talking about the different kind of how systems are set in place, and when a system is there, it can go on forever, regardless who's functioning in that system. Whereas opposed when you don't have a system in place, it just goes down to really who's doing what. But the system goes on forever. It can go on all day and night, as long as possible. But when you don't have that system in place, it's all really, everything runs at really the leisure or the ability to the people just working there or functioning in that environment.
I'm gonna give you one example. You think about it. You tell me if I'm right. One example of system that's changed based upon the person who's implementing the system.
Okay.
I think hospitals.
Okay.
I think hospitals systems change based on the doctor that is maybe on call that day or in the rotation, because everybody treats ailments and things of that nature differently. One doctor may have a procedure that he's been using for years, while another doctor may think that procedure is stupid. So based on, I'm not gonna say hospital, I'm gonna say medical treatment.
Yeah.
Just medical treatment in general, not necessarily hospitals, where you think there may be a system in place, but depending on from doctor to doctor, the system changes.
Yeah, because some may want to talk, some may just want to.
Yeah.
Some want to be personal, some want to do it. But even to that good point, just the hospitals, the system have changed tremendously because of just technology.
Exactly.
Whereas that little incident when my kids got the bumping heads, man, a couple months ago, we had to just go to the library, not library, Damn, I'm tired. The emergency room.
Okay.
Hell, my
I knew
mind
what
ain't.
you were saying. Everybody knew what you were talking about.
We had to go to the emergency room about 2 or 3 in the morning when my kids done got to fighting. And just how everybody walk, the nurses with their iPads doing this. I'm talking about told from a functioning thing. And I just remember being a teenager going with my granddaddy to Grady night and day. Night and day. And just having that system in place. And regardless who's working those shifts, the system's still in place. And it's still going and everything. So that's again, like I said, I really want to shed light on this because you got so many people that get into business and don't spend proper time looking at systems. The next thing I want to look at in terms of just with entrepreneurs, okay? Now, everything we just said in regards to employees being functioning in the system, how everything is drafted for them, it's they're exposed to where they fit into it. It's implemented in everything, and you get your evaluations if you're doing good or bad and rewarded accordingly or punished accordingly. Now we're going to the entrepreneur. So you say, hey, I want to start my own business. I want to do my own thing. I've been doing this. You got to understand from the get-go, all this stuff that you've enjoyed that you just subconsciously weren't really paying attention to, you got to do this shit yourself. So now you got all this on top of you now where you got to design and create how you want this system to go. You got to, depending on the size of the organization, you got to find those people in management to share your vision with, give them your strategy of how you want to do it and help them devise a way to implement it out to the people that's working up under them. And then you got to make sure you got channels in place for the actual frontline employees to be working.
Right.
And everything. So everything has fell on you to be able to craft this whole thing. And you know what? You got to do this before what? You sell your first piece of chicken. Before you cut your first grass. You see, got a landscaping business. I got a landscaping business. They just out there cutting down grass. Don't have no kind of billing system in place. No kind of accounts receivable system in place. No kind of marketing system in place. They just out there cutting down grass. And, next thing you know, you done cut grass for a couple months. And you say, okay, just pay me later. You got no way to collect your money. You got no way to invoice. All this shit is just behind because, like I said again, the system's not in place. And it's happened far too often. So now you working for yourself. You're trying to figure out, I'm doing what I want to do, but it's killing me.
Exactly.
My main business that we deal with is security, transportation, and a lot of personal care homes. Those are our main customers, and everything. Just kind of like our niche. And I see a lot with the truck drivers.
Okay.
Truck drivers, people been driving for a long time. They ready to leave a company, get their own little thing, and they don't have systems in place. And I'm trying to tell them, and they just, nah, I know what I'm doing. You don't really know. You know how to drive that truck, and you got a good idea as far as like some of the process need to get on with a company and how to build and everything like that. But actual systems in terms of proper how to properly build, receive, maintenance schedules and all that kind of stuff. Those systems ain't in place because, again, if the system is in place, you can put people in and out.
Right.
And it just keep it moving. It don't matter. And I see this a lot because a lot of people just don't take, we just saying again, enough emphasis on how important this stuff is.
Right.
So that's one thing I want to push with entrepreneurs. That's one of the key components that you got to be prepared for is to be able to create those systems and give the proper respect to it. And most importantly, if you just can't do it, you go get somebody like me, Deonte Burden, that Majestic Business Service, to book you an appointment to sit down and give you that blueprint to do it. And I can't stress this stuff to you enough. When you start talking about people that can help you go from one level to the next, we ain't just talking about, we don't want to get stuck in, hey, I got to pay this guy to do this and do that. I mean, we talking about that can put you in a whole different stratosphere where you can go from making $50,000-$60,000 to, $1 or $2 million. And we don't want to, take light of that.
That's true.
Because, I mean, we start talking about your accountants, your lawyers, your architects, any kind of professional designers or planners, hey, you need us.
Yeah.
You need us. So that's why I said really pay the proper attention to it. Again, this is Deonte Burden, host of Change Lives Night Show. We're talking about employees, follow systems, Entrepreneurs create systems. Okay, so now we can get into some of the bread and butter.
Okay. Let me pause for the calls real quick.
Okay.
If anybody's watching on YouTube, I do apologize. It is choppy because my I'm sorry because my I changed over my service for my internet service to get more megabytes per second, and for some reason it's not megabyte per second. So I apologize to you all. We'll try to get the video. The sound is fine because I'm listening to it. It's fine. It's the actual video part that's a little choppy. We'll get the video uploaded for you guys later. I do apologize. It's just a part of the process in the system of trying to get better internet service so the videos can look better and stream faster while we're all streaming at the same time. So
gotcha. Is it doing it now just in case?
No, it's doing it now. I just looked at YouTube on your channel and it's choppy. That's why I'm apologizing because when you have a bunch of people down here streaming on their Facebook and their Instagram Live and we're streaming on the radio and we're streaming on YouTube, streaming on Facebook, we need more megabytes per second. So I upped that, but what's happening is that I guess with me changing over the service, I might need to get new equipment as well. And they told me I didn't need that. So Misfits Media Group is apologizing.
We're good.
The sound is good though. I mean, you can hear us fine. It's like the sound is not choppy. It's at the actual your picture. So.
Okay. Well, I think everybody seen my handsome face enough. As long as you can hear me, be all right. Got a CX ray. Ask me, I still coach. I can't see exactly who it is. Yeah, I still coach. Got a 9U Gamecocks at Panhandle Park. Got a first game September 7th. That's next Saturday at 12:50 at Panhandle Park. So yeah, come check us out. Yeah, I'm still coaching today at Panhandle Park. My cousin Trill, she said I'm good. I appreciate that, cuz. Okay, so where we at now? I'm finna tell you how to create your own system. Okay, we in this now. I'm finna give you the 5 steps needed if you want to step out there, do your own thing, or you currently in business right now, and you're like, man, everything kind of chaotic. I talked to one of my partners today. He got like a real estate company. He said, man, that's what was killing me, man. I ain't got my systems. And see, one thing about it, when you're in business and you out there doing your thing, see, this kind of stuff is hard to do because once you out there trying to get that money, it's hard to stop to go back and try to reconfigure everything. So that's why I say it's best to do it on the front end. But regardless, you still need to get it done. Okay? So when we started talking about creating a system, first step we wanted to do was make an assessment of what you have. Okay? What are you doing? What are your time constraints? What's going on? You know, how many people you got? What kind of human capital? What do we mean by human capital? That means experience, skilled craftsmen, or different experts. What do you have going on? That's the first thing you got to do is make an assessment of what you do, you know, on a regular basis. You know, you guys making so many widgets, selling so many of these, or whatever. Let's do an assessment. Write everything down that you're doing. Okay. Number 2, the second thing you got to do, you got to create a process. Just make a general game plan on how you want to do everything. And keep in mind, it's just we're in a planning phase. So we wrote down everything we got to do. Now we sitting there just writing down the process of how we want to go about everything. So you still kind of like a rough draft, you know, in terms of this is how I want to go about it. I want to have one man working on this, one man working on that, 2 people doing that, another person doing that. And if they do that, we should maybe done in an hour. You know what I'm saying? You know, just kind of, this stuff is nothing etched in stone. It's just plans, and we're constantly, you know, just trying to put everything in place. Like, you know, it's kind of like, you know, you got a framework wrote down in pencil. You know, so we just kind of setting that up and everything. And keep in mind, as more you learn about the process, about, you know, things come up, like you just said, what was you saying before? I brought up the bottleneck.
Clogging the system.
Yeah, clogging the system. They come in, changes make. It's like, oh man, I forgot about that. So you had them clogs in the system. You had them bottlenecks. You make those proper adjustments to those things happening. So that's what that second thing is. We're gonna create a process. Okay, we got a process in place. Now what we sit down and do, this is the third thing. We sit down and brainstorm how we can do things better. Okay, now we sitting there looking like, okay, you know, we done did this for a while and stuff like that. We got this stuff set up. How can we do it better? We got one person doing something, and it's taking them 3 hours, but it's kind of holding everything up. Why don't we send 1 or 2 more people over there? Okay, we got we're paying this one place to use this certain material, but it shit breaking too much in the building phase. When we pay $1 or $2 more, we might charge a little bit more. That may be a little bit more sturdy in the process of putting it together.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know, kind of like we're looking at the landscaping thing where, look, I'm using QuickBooks, but I'm like a month or two behind. We'll get my billing. Why not maybe go pay an accountant?
Right.
Or get somebody on payroll to do it. So we're looking at things that we just brainstorming what can improve our process, you know. And one key thing with this is take your personal preferences out of it. Like if you really want to focus on certain things, you got to look at the organization as a whole, what's needed. Not that you like focusing more on the cutting grass and not taking a proper look at the billing or the receivable part. You know, you're not looking in terms of actually, you know, the actual having very often if people want to start restaurants, they're so focused on the food and it take good. Right. You like that, but they have no kind of marketing and advertising going on whatsoever.
Exactly.
Or you got a staff in your restaurant that you have not properly trained, and they're not as efficient as possible with certain things, you know, with just making people feel good and stuff like that. I'll give you that Chick-fil-A feel. I want to give you a good example. I ain't gonna say the restaurant I went to, or the bar I went to rather. Just I gotta wait 20 minutes for my waitress to come back.
Right.
And she damn near act like somebody bothering her. Whereas she probably been properly trained. You damn near want her to be kind of like a pest because she might come, you need another drink, you good, you straight, and when we get another one, this, that, and that. A lot of times you're like, yeah, give me another one. Shit,
right.
Bring me two, cause, you know, or whatever. And that's more money for her. That's more money for the restaurant. But because they ain't really been properly trained, and they sitting over there together in a group talking. I've seen this about 2 or 3 dang restaurants and bars.
I see them at a lot of restaurants.
You know.
I see it at a lot of restaurants.
Yeah.
And I want to, now it's been some restaurants I've gone to where like they've been on it. Like before I can put my cup down after drinking some tea and they already filling it back up. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And that's what I like. I don't like to have to ask for it. I like you to see it, because that way I feel like you're I know it's 15 other people around, and I'm gonna give you a good example. When I used to manage shopping centers, you know, I used to always tell the vendors, I don't care about nobody else's property but mine. You may have 300 other properties that you service, plumber, whatever you are. I don't care about anybody else's property but mine. Gotcha. And when I go to a restaurant, I know you may have 15 other customers. I don't care about them. Only thing I care about is me and my service.
That's it. That's it. Tell that to my kids all the time. Well, they did. Nah, I don't care about them and my children.
Yeah, exactly.
And everything. And I think that's something that's really need to be a big focus with business. When we start talking about brainstorming, don't just look at what you care about. Like I say again, you know, you got stuff like that. People so concerned about the damn food, the flavor. Folk gonna compliment them on the food, but they system so out of damn whack with other deficiencies and everything. So make sure with that brainstorming, you're not focused on what you like. The fourth thing is implementation.
I'm sorry.
I'm
on
sorry.
the brainstorming, is that a constant process? Like, do you constantly brainstorm like every 6 months? You think about a way that you maybe can do something better in order to make the business better, or is brainstorming just once? I mean, I'm just asking because somebody may be thinking, do I brainstorm often? Is this a constant state of flux, or is it constant? You know, is this constant?
Great question.
Process.
Everything we do here is constant. All 5 steps. All 5 steps are constant.
Okay.
But I'm gonna get to that in a sec.
Okay.
You don't get into it. No, you fine. You fine. The fourth thing is implementation. Okay, you done sat down and first you done did your assessments. You done kind of created a process. You went through the whole brainstorming aspect to kind of how do you make changes. And now we're talking about implementing it. We're putting everything in place. We instead of going from the pencil on our little framework, we drawing our picture. Now we're going with the ink. We're putting that ink on there, getting it concrete, erasing everything, erasing all the pencil marks and stuff like that. We getting it together. We sticking to the plan and vision that we set out at first. Of course, you're making adjustments here and there depending on what came out, or like you said, what you call it again, the bottlenecks and what else?
The clogging
the clogs
the system.
The clogs in the system. You make those adjustments, but now with the implementation phase, all levels from you being the owner, you got your management, you got your people, or if it's just a 1 or 2 man operation, just yourself. Your vision, how you want to go about it, and then delivering it, everything's on the same page. That's what we mean by implementation. Everything's that, and you while doing this, you making notes of all the steps in the process. This is what's going on. It's wrote down. This is your Bible in terms of what you wanted, what you want, how you gonna go about it, and then making it happen. Okay, so that's it. That 4th step, implementation. The 5th step, going back what you just asked, we continuously improving. We're continuously improving. We revisit mistakes. We revisit mishaps. We revisit clogs in the system, and we're looking at ways to make them better and make them more efficient and everything. Make it, we make advances, and accomplishment, make them just better, and everything. So it's like everything we do is going to be constant. Now, a good thing to keep in mind when we got systems in place, you have to. A rule of thumb, I would just get everybody to look at least twice a damn year. Sometimes you can look at, I wouldn't necessarily say look at it a month, because I don't know if you can look at anything on a monthly basis and give it a true assessment, because you may not necessarily have nothing to compare it to after a month. That makes sense?
Yeah. Maybe a quarterly basis.
Yeah, quarterly basis, or even half a year, because you kind of, depending on what you do, it might be cyclical. That, just something that you make more money in the summer or make more money in the winter. So you got to kind of look at it in terms of that. But you do have to make those revisit everything and make them observations. Why? Because you have advances that have nothing to do with your organization. Technological advances, you have law changes, innovation.